locations where it's connected into the rest of the building.
That would seem to be a major oversight.
Well, it's not necessarily an oversight. It doesn't mean that you don't provide fire protection for the connections. What people do normally is they provide the same fire protection for the connection that they do for any other part of the system. The appearance there is that the connections did not have the same resistance as the rest of the structure, and this is one of the prime areas that we point out needs some attention. We first need to see if it really is a problem, and then once we know that, building codes would have to be changed to remedy that problem.
The release of the report today is just the first step in a process that the American Society of Civil Engineers hopes will lead to additional research into the behavior of buildings in catastrophic events. Dr. Corley says those studies will take about 3 years and cost more than $40 million.
That will get us to the point of knowing what research might need to be done in some areas, particularly this area of connections. That we first have to find out how serious the problem is and what needs to be tested, but then after that the testing has to be funded.
Dr. Corley says the team saw no need to call for immediate changes to building codes.
If you're going to do something to minimize this type of effect, the right thing to do is invest it in security so that the terrorists don't get the tools that they need to cause this type of an attack.
But the horrendous loss of life and the indelible images of the collapsing towers have caused some to question whether skyscrapers have outlived their usefulness. They point to press reports of companies moving out of New York since 9/11, of increasing vacancy rates in skyscrapers because people and companies are afraid to work in them anymore. Carol Willis is a skyscraper historian and curator for the Skyscraper Museum in New York.
I'm sure they have a future because high-rise buildings really provide a kind of efficiency for urban life. The problems of bringing people together in great density need to be solved efficiently, and skyscrapers are very efficient ways to use energy, as a matter of fact, and to have many people concentrated in one place so that they can take advantage of the economies of scale.
David Childs thinks we'll still build skyscrapers. They just won't be 110 stories tall.
I think that we won't have those types of buildings anymore, at least for the immediate future, because people just don't feel comfortable going to work every day on the 70th floor, especially if they're exposed to the rest of the world in a way that sort of make you feel like you're a target. So I think we won't have the excesses of height as before. Will be probably in the maximum 60, 65, perhaps even 70 stories, but which is considerably lower than the World Trade Center was, for example.
The World Trade Center site today looks very much like it did in the 70s, leaving architects and engineers with a blank slate for a new development. The hope is that further study will lead to a complete understanding of what happened on September 11th, and perhaps lead to changes in building codes that might mitigate loss of life in buildings subjected to damage far beyond their design limits.